I mean, the Mets just have that look. They have that 2022 Phillies, 2023 Diamondbacks. Like they are
Playoff magic.
playoff magic. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
having a ton of fun. I mean, if I didn't hate them so much, like I would, you could see how much fun it would be to be rooting for them. So,
Oh, Mets
kinda
fans are
sucks,
having
dude.
a blast. Yeah.
Philly pride insists that's all. Andrew Rappin and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems. Silvers and white. Who the call? Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear. Join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew Sistat, Brad unite. Philly and Y in the spotlight.
Hey everyone, welcome to episode 10. We've made it to our 10th episode, not counting our bonus episodes. This is a fun week though. So we had a hard time deciding when to record just because there's so much sports going on and there's almost no way to record and post without missing something in between the recording and the posting. So we're recording this on Sunday night before game 1 of the NLCS, before the Giants play the Bengals on Sunday Night Football. So for those of you that are watching or listening to this, understand that we didn't know the outcome of those events before we recorded. So anyway, let's start with the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies finished as the second seed in the National League this year. The same core that has gotten to the playoffs and had deep runs for the last few years. As a favorite against the New York Mets, they lose in 4 games in the NLDS. I take it you probably weren't shocked by that outcome, but kind of talk through what you thought about that series, your frustrations with the series, and what do you want to do going forward for the Phillies?
Yeah, I mean, the series fucking sucked. It kind of felt like the Phillies really had no chance from the jump. The Mets, I mean, obviously they had the game too. That was fun. And crazy game, crazy comeback, all that good stuff. That was a fun game. But other than that, I mean, yeah, the Mets just totally handed it to the Phillies for the other 3 games. And my thoughts overall are just like, I just don't know if this is the lineup that's built to do it in the playoffs. It was the exact same thing that happened in games 6 and 7 against the Diamondbacks last year, where the offense just totally disappeared. And it's just nobody's being disciplined. Nobody's putting at bats together. There's no approach to the plate. And yeah, I mean, Lindor hit that grand slam and it just kind of, I didn't really have a reaction. I was just kind of like, yeah, that feels about right. The Mets did everything that you would hope that your baseball team does in the playoffs. I mean, they grind out at bats, they walk, they're patient, they foul balls off, they hit singles. Believe it or not, that's a thing that you're allowed to do. Somebody tell the Phillies. And then occasionally they'll just get that one back-breaking hit that ends the game. And that was the Lindor grand slam. So the pitching, bullpen was awful. I mean, just a strange thing. The bullpen was really good all year. So even the guys that they were bringing out of the bullpen, I mean, these were guys that you really counted on all year long. And even last year, guys like Hoffman and Strahm and Kerkering, and these guys just came in and just could not get outs. More runs than innings pitched for the bullpen.
That was a difference. That was a difference. The bullpens. I mean, that was.
Yeah, I mean, the starters were really good. Wheeler was obviously really good. Sanchez, I thought, was awesome. Nola was okay, a bit disappointing, but nothing like, nothing that you shouldn't have been able to at least compete with. Everyone who came out was really bad. So yeah, it sucks. I mean, the Mets just have that look. They have that 2022 Phillies, 2023 Diamondbacks. Like they are
Playoff magic.
Playoff magic, yeah, they're having a ton of fun. I mean, if I didn't hate them so much, like I would, you could see how much fun it would be to be rooting for them. So
oh, Mets fans are having a blast, yeah.
Of course, and they should be. They should definitely be enjoying it. But it sucks because now, like, you're gonna love it when your team is the team that's doing that, like the Phillies were 2 years ago, and when they're not the team, you're saying, "Oh, this fucking third wild card is bullshit. They're letting way too many teams in the playoffs now." But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. More teams in the playoffs is more fun. But yeah, I think it really sucked. I think that they have to make a lot of changes. I think they really got to tinker with this lineup, and I'm not exactly sure what they're gonna do or what kind of moves they have here. Maybe they'll try and get Juan Soto.
I think every team just about will try to get it to some degree. But yeah, that would be a huge difference in that lineup. The lineup was good though all year. I mean, this
Yeah, but it
happens to
seems
teams.
it seems like, yeah, you're right. And overall, it's just baseball. They ran into a better, hotter team, and their bats got cold. But when you position that next to what happened last year and even the year before, like obviously they made it to the World Series, but they were up 2-1 on the Astros, and just the last three games they just could not hit. Um, they in fact got no hit in Game 4 of that series. So yeah, I think it's good in the regular season, but yeah, when the pitching gets really good and you got really good guys coming out of bullpens, like your approach has to change. It just has to. You can't
Yeah, I
just keep
understand that.
swinging for the fences on every single pitch. It's like it's one of those things that I heard on another podcast, and it's like it's such a good point where like there's nothing like more hopeless of a feeling than just like watching your team do something stupid that they're going to do, and they just can't help themselves. It's kind of like in football, like they're going to run it down your throat every play, and like you just can't stop it. And same thing, like they're going to throw terrible pitches, and like you just can't help yourself but swing
Yeah,
at them.
I
So I just think they need to. I don't know. I don't know. And they're probably going to fire the hitting coach, and there's going to be. I don't know, but like, is that? I don't know. I think they need to get guys who are just going to be more patient, who are going to take singles, drive the ball the other way, like just this whole every single one of them, except for like maybe Stott wasn't trying to swing for the fences every time he got to the plate. Trey Turner, like I don't know when he started thinking of himself as friggin' Mark McGuire. Like it's crazy. He used to be like on the Nationals and on the Dodgers. Like I always thought of him as like a slap hitter, like a guy who's gonna hit 300, who's gonna maybe hit 18, 20 home runs, but he's gonna drive the baseball and he's gonna hit it the other way, and he's just not doing any of that. He was the most disappointing, I would say.
yeah, I think what I noticed in the other NLDS was something similar. The Padres all year had a bunch of guys who got on base and kept it going, and they got in a rut where they were just everyone was trying to go up and hit a home run. Hey, look, if you're connecting enough on these home runs, then it works. So this is really a result thing. If the Phillies were going out there and hitting home runs and they hit a couple more homers, if Schwarber hit a 3-run homer in that last at bat, it feel differently.
For sure, but the issue is that the pitchers know you're going to swing at everything, so they're not giving you
Yeah,
like.
well,
Why would
you
you
could
ever
be
throw
yeah.
a strike to the Phillies? Like, why would you ever do it? Like, you should
Yeah, well,
never.
there's a difference between going for home runs and chasing, right?
Sure.
Like
Yes.
there's less wrong with going for trying to lift the ball and hit the ball hard every time. There's swinging really hard as long as you're not chasing. It's when you're doing that and chasing, yeah, then you get in this desperate mode, and it's just very easy for pitchers to pitch to you. And I know that's when you're struggling on offense, when the all lineup struggling, that there's a tendency for players to try to. That's their reaction is they get a little bit desperate, they get a little panicked, and they lose their strike zone and their discipline. That's what happened. Though I do agree that's what happened, and that's not who the Phillies were all year.
Yeah, it definitely sucks. Baseball's like the one sport where you can't just try physically harder. It's such a mental thing. You can't grip the bat harder, and like whereas other sports you can take your intensity up a notch and
Yeah, for sure.
maybe play a little bit better. But baseball, you just can't. You just have to. You got to go back to basics, and it's all mechanics and thought processing and all that stuff that makes it such a great sport. In that instance, it just really sucks because there's just seemingly nothing you could do.
How do you feel about the season as a whole?
Um, I feel okay, I guess. I mean, yeah, they won the division for the first time in 13 years. That's cool, but you think about what they, I mean, if the Braves don't lose 75% of their roster for half the year, like, do they still win the division? Probably not. But yeah, I mean, you can't say it's not a successful season. I mean, it's super disappointing and it sucks the way that it ended. But divisions are very hard to win in baseball. You probably wouldn't know that from being a Yankees fan, but it's usually like this rare, like special thing that you should be proud of. So I think I thought it was cool. Hopefully they can build on it. I wouldn't pick them to win the division next year, but we'll see what happens. Now we got the Mets to worry about.
Divisions have not been hard to win for a few teams that keep winning them every year, like the Braves and Dodgers that have won their divisions every year. And I know you said the Yankees, but
and the Yankees, yeah.
Well, the Yankees haven't won the division every year like those teams.
Okay.
But granted, a lot, yes. I think for the Phillies, regarding their future, we do have one of the subscriber questions is about the Phillies' future and the roster. So let's circle back, talking about what do they do from here in terms of the roster construction, the core roster, things like that, until later on, until the subscriber question segment. But I think overall, this is what's frustrating about having a great team is that this feels like the pressure that you have to win. You're supposed to beat a team that you're better than. The Phillies are a better team than the Mets. They proved that through 162 games. The Mets were better through 4 games. Ultimately, that's how the playoffs works, though. You only have to be better for 4 games. So that's the frustrating thing as a fan is that the Phillies are better than the Mets. They have been. If they played another 4-game series, the Phillies would probably win. I mean, a 5-game series. But for the Mets, like you said, I think from the Mets' perspective, they're on one of these runs that's really hard to describe. You can't really describe it with metrics or stats. I kind of, as a joke, call it Mets magic. There's something about it that is just, they have something going. It really is hard to describe. And the comebacks late in the games. Hold on one second. The dog tried to take over the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, so. Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Roll up that newspaper, man.
Oh. No, I wouldn't take it to that level.
Okay.
You have to curse at your dog. If you don't curse at your dog, you're not having fun with your dog.
Yeah.
By the way, nice little, what is that a 76ers clock you got there?
What is that? It's not a clock. It's just like this cool wooden thing that I bought at a festival yesterday.
Cool wooden thing.
Yeah, this guy made them. He was selling them, and I bought one. I thought, hey, that would look great behind my head when I talked to Andrew.
Yeah. You know what's funny? My sister-in-law yesterday was telling me she was looking at. She said that you should probably get some like sports stuff in your background. Give a sports vibe.
Yeah.
I was like, no, interesting.
You should.
I don't really have a very sports vibe.
You should get a hat of your favorite teams, and get some stuff in the background. What?
Oh, okay. I could just wear a hat with all my favorite teams on it.
All 4 of them, yeah.
I'm not really a hat. I'm not a hat person.
Whatever. It would look good on you.
All right. So, yeah, for the Mets perspective, always so fun as an underdog. The run that they've been on just to get in the playoffs. That game they played against the Braves on the last day, or the extra last day of the season on that Monday.
Mm-hmm.
The wild card run, the Pete Alonso homer against the Brewers. Just an amazing run. And the Lindor Grand Slam, that's just the kind of things that they've been doing.
That's why I said it felt right.
You felt like this was gonna. When you were watching, like the Mets they're gonna be the ones to come up with a big hit.
You can definitely just kind of feel what's happening. You could feel that again. The Phillies weren't doing anything. Yeah, they scratched across 1 run, but the Mets were just. I mean, dude, that last game they had the bases loaded in the first 2 innings.
Oh yeah, they kept squandering chances.
So you knew that just wasn't a sustainable.
I think you could,
dude. I really don't care for the manager, and I'm not just saying that because.
Which manager? Who are you talking about?
Rob Thompson. So
okay, the Phillies manager. Okay.
Yes, so I'm not just saying that because they didn't win the World Series and you need to fire the manager. I think these past 2, some might argue all 3 playoff runs that they've had, he made some pretty pretty big decisions that you could argue ended up costing them.
What were the ones
series.
this series? Yeah.
So this series specifically in the last game. So again, I mean it's an elimination game. And before the game, rightfully so, they're all saying, "Oh, it's all hands on deck. It's all hands on deck." Okay, great. So I don't know how closely you were paying attention, but so Rangers in trouble the first two innings.
I was paying attention, very close attention.
That's right. So they have Jeff Hoffman up starting in the second inning. So he's in the bullpen. He gets up and down like 4 or 5 different times. The broadcast was saying. So he finally comes in, gets 2 very, very stressful outs. The next inning that he sits was the inning. The next inning was where the Phillies scored their 1 run. So it was a longer inning, right? Where again they got a couple guys on base, had to scratch and claw. They got a run across. So he's now sitting for 15, 20 minutes. And I just don't. I never like bringing relievers in like after a long layoff like that, especially just given the situation. And like again, why not only did he bring him back out there, but he loaded the bases on his first 3 batters faced. So it's like, he should have never came back out, like never in a million years. It's an elimination game. You have to push all your chips in, like bring somebody else in, man. You have an off day the next day. You have to use your bullpen pieces to. You just have to survive.
I agree with that. Who was due up for the Mets that inning when they brought Ranger back out? I don't recall. I don't remember who was up.
I don't recall.
Because if it was like a lefty lane, like they had a couple lefties, like 2 or 3, maybe I can understand why you.
No.
Bring Ranger back out.
No. I'm talking about when they brought Hoffman back out.
Oh, Hoffman back out.
Yes.
Okay,
So
okay.
Hoffman relieves Ranger in the 5th. Gets 2 outs. Then he sits, and then Hoffman starts the next inning.
I see what you're saying.
Hoffman then proceeds to load the bases, and then they pulled him out.
And they bring in Kirkering?
I don't even remember at this point. Might have been Estevez. Yeah, I don't even.
Okay.
It's all a blur at this point. But yeah, that was the inning where Lindor hit the grand slam, and it's like,
yes,
there you go. Like, now look, you have to score. So I'm not sitting here saying they would have won the game had that not happened. But like,
I mean,
they had a 1-run lead.
The win probability in that situation goes from like 52% to like 12%.
I mean, give yourself a chance, man. Again, like you gotta. I'm using all like all of my relievers. I'm using them in that situation. I'm not bringing Hoffman back out. I'm just not. And if the first guy gets on base, he's out. Like
That's
I'm
fair.
not. Why are we leaving him in for 2 more batters? So yeah, I think that cost him the game. I mean, listen, guys have to play. The guys have to make pitches. They have to execute. So it's not all on the manager. But I really think he made some real questionable decisions.
I'm assuming he was asked about that. Did you see anything in press conference or day after exit interview day about? Did he give her an answer about that? Because I'm assuming he was asked.
Yeah, I went pretty dark after that. I kind of didn't really want to hear it. Didn't want to know.
Did you listen to my advice? You didn't take my advice.
About what?
After the game.
No, I didn't. I should have.
Oh, it's too bad.
Yeah.
I think I've watched a lot of playoff baseball, and in every single game, every single series, there's something a manager did or didn't do that I think is questionable. And ultimately, it's hard to find a manager that you're going to agree with all their decisions in big situations, right? Because even you'll find people, your fans, that disagree with you, and everyone will disagree. So it's not like there's an objective truth here. It's not like we're talking about like some math or science where there's a fact. This is what you do. It's a lot of is understanding the metrics, understanding the data, and utilizing it the way they think. It's also like in the moment. And then there's an instinct feeling. I'm not saying they shouldn't move on from him. I mean, he's obviously been a very successful Phillies manager, probably among the most successful Phillies managers.
Right.
I also wouldn't be shocked. I mean, Dombrowski's that kind of GM where he doesn't mess around. So I think.
Yeah, we'll see. I think they'll bring him back for. I think he has one more year on his deal, so I think they'll bring him back.
Without
At least
extending him.
see how it goes. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Okay. And I was going to give the Mets perspective a little bit more. So, crazy run. Mets fans are going crazy. As a Yankee fan, I'm not one of these fans, you know this, that's like, oh, I'm a New York fan. I root for all the New York teams, which is probably against your fan rule book.
Oh my God, yeah. So Jenna's aunt was telling me they're big Yankees fans, and she came the next time she came over at some point this past week and was like, "Oh yeah, the Mets." I was like, "You can't root for the Mets too. Like, stop. You're a Yankees fan. No. Oh,
I agree.
It's New York. It's like no, doesn't count.
It is kind of funny, but it's usually the casual fans that do that though.
Right. Of course.
Right. Diehard fans aren't going to be like, yeah, I'm rooting for the Mets. You know, I do think it's a really fun run. And I have friends that are Mets fans, and I'm very happy for that they get to experience this. That said, they move on to the NLCS. They have the Dodgers. The Dodgers were down 2-1 to the Padres. They came back and won the series. Dodgers, in the offseason, they built what everybody figured was a super team, right? They were a great team. They were the best team in baseball this regular season. It did not pan out, the super team. They have had a lot of injuries and a lot of underperformance. Their starting pitching has been an issue most of the season. Their late game bullpen was an issue most of the season. All of a sudden, against the Padres, their bullpen was amazing. But this is not a perfect Dodgers team. The Dodgers have Freddie Freeman, who's hurt. Doesn't look like it's affecting his hitting, but it's affecting his defense and base running. They're down to really three legit starting pitchers, and I would even argue actually 2 starting pitchers. One of their high end relievers, Alex Vesia, he's out. He got injured in Game 5 against the Padres. He's out this series. The Dodgers are very vulnerable, so the Mets they would have a chance either way, but they have a very legitimate chance here. I actually think the Mets have an advantage in starting pitching. As crazy as it is coming to the season to think that the Mets in the NLCS have an advantage over the Dodgers in starting pitching, I'd give the Dodgers the edge in relief pitching, but and the lineup I think is actually somewhat close, but the Dodgers' top of the lineup is just incredible. I mean, Ohtani, Mookie, Freddie, Teoscar is incredible, and I would even add Will Smith and Max Muncy to that. That's a really, really good lineup. The back end of the lineup, pretty weak. I think are the Mets going to run out of this magic? I think that's the key here. It's like, are the Mets going to keep doing this?
God, I hope so, man. I mean, I hope they run out of the magic. No, I hope they run out of the magic. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Everyone, when a team's going on a run like this, everybody thinks they call them the team of destiny and all that nonsense, right? It's a team of destiny. Everyone says that every time a team's going on a run like this.
Nonsense.
And 90% of the time, that team loses. And then no one corrects it and says, "Oh, I guess they weren't a team of destiny," or they say that and never acknowledging that that's a made up thing. That there's no such thing as team of destiny. Well,
we will be keeping count of the teams of destiny and revisiting as the season pans out.
I think the Mets are going to run out of it. When I say magic, I don't literally mean magic. I know people actually think out there that think that I may be being serious. I'm not. Whatever run that they have, this timely hitting, timely pitching, finding a way to win games, I think that's going to end against the Dodgers.
I hope so. I know that, since your brain is very analytical and you look at data and numbers, none of this is quantifiable, but to me, I just see a team that's super loose. They're all having a blast. They're having fun.
Yeah.
They don't feel pressure. Some would say they're playing with house money. But they're just, they're having fun. They're loose and they're confident. That's really all it takes.
I agree with that.
And you start to steal a couple of games, and especially in the way that they've done it, they never feel like they're out of a ball game.
There's a confidence with that.
So,
there's a confidence that builds with that for sure. The more you come back late in the game, the more confident you feel like it's going to happen. Like the Yankees 90s dynasty, all the players felt like that. They just felt like someone was going to come through in a big spot, and they wrote a dynasty on doing that. So
totally. Tino.
Some of the pitch. Wait, what was that?
Tino.
The
Tino
Bam
Martinez,
Tino.
dude.
Did you ever hear John Sterling called him the Bam Tino?
No.
Yeah, when he hit a home
That's a
run, the
good one.
Bam
Yeah,
Tina.
that's a good one.
Yeah, I like that one. That was one of my favorite ones. So some of the starting pitching matchups in this series. So Senga is like a bullpen day, probably Senga and David Peterson day against Jack Flaherty. That's a good matchup. And then that's where it gets kind of interesting. So for the Dodgers, they go Walker Buehler, who's been pretty bad this year and in the postseason after missing all of last year. So they go with Walker Buehler. The Mets go with Shomanaya, who is really good.
Hmm.
Then the Dodgers go with Knack, who you probably never heard of. So, and then the Mets go Sevy. Then the Dodgers, Yamamoto, coming back after pitching Game 5, will be available for the Dodgers in Game 4 against Jose Quintana. So the Mets rotation is not only it's not only better and deep, it's not only deeper, it's set up in order. They're rested. The Dodgers, obviously, their number one pitcher Yamamoto doesn't pitch until Game 4, and
That's huge.
won't start. I mean, he might be available out of the
Yeah.
bullpen in a potential Game 7, but one start for their best pitcher, and they only have. I mean, Flaherty is really good, but I would say those are their only two legitimate starting pitchers at this point. I think in a normal playoff rotation, Landon Knack definitely wouldn't be in it. He might not even be on the roster if they were healthy. So that said, I'm banking on Ohtani, Mookie, Freddie, and to a lesser extent, Teo, Will Smith, and Muncy take over the series. I think that the Dodgers, specifically their top three hitters, are going to be the difference in this series. And there's no way the Dodgers can win this series if that's not the case.
Yeah, so the thing that I'm most interested in seeing is the Mets pitching staff. Again, not to just be a salty Negadelphia,
you
my
are.
team,
It's okay.
but, like,
Be who you are. Be who you are.
No, I am, but like, can the pitching staff hold up against a lineup that's not going to swing at junk? I mean, Quintana in that last game was not super impressive. They were just swinging at everything.
To be fair, though, when a lineup is consistently swinging at pitches out of the zone, credit to the pitcher. You can't just say, "Oh, they're just chasing everything." Why? Why not in this case?
Because they did it all series.
Credit to the pitchers.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I'm saying, though, right?
Like, I do.
Well, there's an art, as much as there's an art for hitters to be disciplined and not chase, there's an art for pitchers to generate chases. It works both ways.
Well, if that's the case, then they've got the greatest rotation of all time, because they made
this
the
could have
Phillies
been a combination.
Really,
this could have been I would say not could have. This was a combination of the Phillies getting frustrated, panicking, and desperate, and losing their discipline, and the Mets taking advantage of that with very quality pitches that look like they're going to be in the strike when they out of the hand, and then they're not by the time it gets to the plate.
Yep. Yeah,
I mean, that's the whole idea.
Yeah.
Hitters don't do well when they swing at pitches outside of the zone. That's been historically true about baseball. All right, you want to give a prediction for the series?
Oh God, I think that it would be the Mets in 6.
Mets in 6. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going Dodgers in 5.
You do this every year, though. You fall for the Dodgers every year. And
do I?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Every time. The
I don't think they're that good. I actually
love them. You always love them.
Do I really?
Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Absolutely.
Pick them every year in the playoffs.
You pick them every year in the playoffs. Yeah.
I don't remember. I believe you. I typically pick.
I thought you were going to go the other way, because you were saying how down you are on them. But
I am down on them. I think we're going to get Ohtani, Mookie, and Freddie going off.
I hope so.
Do you really hope so? You're going to be actively rooting for the Dodgers?
Of course.
Because, hold on a second. Is this because you don't like the Mets, or because the Mets beat the Phillies, or both?
Definitely both, but more so because I don't like the Mets.
Okay.
Yes, like if for whatever reason the Braves or the Padres eliminated the Phillies, I would 1,000% still be rooting for the Dodgers. I can't believe you would even ask that.
No, what do you think? You can't. I can't believe I would ask that.
Yeah.
I thought you hated the Dodgers too.
I don't hate the Dodgers.
It seems like you're kind of against your rule book. Like, this is not a fan rule book. This is just a player rule book. Like, oh, Ohtani went to the Dodgers. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I definitely don't like them. I think it's like pretty. Yeah, I hate that. Like, They're always really good.
Not only that, but the way they signed Otani,
Right. Yeah.
they like cheated the
That was
system.
that was pretty hilarious. But yeah, I mean, this is, I mean, I'm 1000% rooting for the Dodgers. It's not even a question. But yeah, this is absolutely a lesser of two evils pick.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah,
What?
I was rooting for, I wouldn't say I was rooting for the Padres because knowing that they would probably play the Mets. Like if the Mets and Phillies, if it wasn't the Mets in the playoffs right now, then I would root for the Padres. Absolutely. Brewers before them, like, yeah, fuck division rivals, dude. You serious?
What do you think of? I'm sure you've heard this before. Some fans believe that when their team loses, that if the team, I know you probably know where I'm going with this, the team
do.
that beat them wins it all, or the further they get, that that values their team's season more. Like if the Mets win the World Series, it's like, well, we lost to the World Series champion, so we're the second best team.
Yeah, I guess I understand that logic. I think it's pretty weak. Um, I mean, the only time that I can think of a scenario for one of that happening to one of my teams is when the Sixers lost to the Raptors on the Kawhi shot. Because that, I mean, that was truly like you were
Yeah,
a couple of crazy bounces away from winning that
yeah,
series, and then everything just broke their way. So, but other than that, now, I mean, I don't know. It was the first round. I mean, it was the second round, but it was the first
yeah,
round
yeah,
that you
yeah.
played. So it's like,
Yeah, no, I'm with you on
I
that.
don't,
I
yeah,
don't agree with that.
yeah.
I don't agree with that. So, all right, Yankees. Yankees beat the Royals in 4 games, 3-1. The games were really close. To be fair, I know you're gonna like, oh, well, of course, the Yankees roll out of bed and they're in the ALCS. That whole shtick you have going on there. But the this,
It's not a shtick if it's true.
I mean,
I
again,
know it must have been really hard for you to survive the ALCS drought for the Yankees. It was a whole 1 year of them not being in the ALCS. I don't know how you survived.
okay. So
Poor Yankees Nation, man. Oh my gosh. Anyway,
four
they're back.
4 years, 4 times in the last 8 years. So they don't roll out of bed and make the ALCS. They do a little bit more than roll out of bed.
Okay.
Maybe they walk downstairs.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe they get a cup
Okay.
of coffee and, yeah,
All
start the Keurig,
right.
and they're, boom, now they're in the ALCS.
Keurig. Uh-oh. You're a Keurig guy?
Oh my god, of course.
Of course. What do you mean, of course?
You sit there and put grinds in
Sit
a
there?
filter? Yeah.
I don't sit there, but I do make. Yeah, no, well,
Wow.
drip. Yeah, drip. Yeah, it's better. It's much better than Keurig. Come on.
Oh, it's not better. Don't be a
Oh,
coffee
it's better.
snob, dude. You sound like a
I think
vanilla
that
bullshit Starbucks guy now, dude. Come on.
have you gone to that episode of Curb yet? No, right? That's season 2.
It's my next episode.
Oh, you're how far? You're on season 2 already?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so that's the Shaq episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're gonna love that episode. It's a great episode. I hope I don't
Yeah.
build it up too much for you.
I think you might have, but it's okay.
Oh, the Starbucks scene is it's one of the best scenes of TV ever. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, okay, what were we talking about? Yankees Royals.
Mm-hmm.
We don't really need to get into that series that much. The Yankees didn't hit that well. Judge, everybody was ready to destroy him. He sucks. Ended up with a 390 on base. Like, no, it wasn't a good series for him. But the fact that he could perform badly and his bad is a 390 on base is just shows how good he is. Let's see. Stanton's back. He carried the offense.
Do you believe
They got
in
a couple.
playoff Stanton?
I believe. Great question. I believe, and I was talking about this with a friend recently. I believe the idea, the rhetoric, or the narrative that's out there about players either performing, not being able to perform in the postseason, or performing better in the postseason, is 80 to 90%. I'll just say, for argument's sake, 80% has been proven false. That if you give the player enough sample size, they're going to perform relatively close to what they do in the regular season or throughout their career. That said, that leaves 20%. 10% of people that actually, for some reason, they feel more pressure. They either panic or they try too hard. Like you were saying earlier, you can't really try too hard in baseball. It has a negative effect. There's 10%, let's just say 10% of players, for some reason, actually have a mental block to perform in the playoffs. And then let's say the other 10% are the opposite. That they're more focused in the big moment. They just somehow there's something in them mentally that allows them to excel in those big moments. I think Stanton's in that 10%.
Okay.
He's had seasons where he's like
We've had an
one.
argument about this in the past. I'm curious to see if you remember who the player was, but we can circle back to that.
Yeah, so I'm very interested. I do not remember what you're talking about, but so Stanton is a guy he can have a 115 WRC plus during the regular season, 15% better than league average, very good, and then a 155 in the WRC plus in the playoffs, which with playoffs with offensive down, that's significantly better. And I mean, they kept showing on the broadcast his home run per plate appearance in the postseason is like second best all time to Babe Ruth, which, I mean, that stat is very selective. You're really picking out a specific stat, but it is still very impressive. And I think Stanton has shown that, yeah, there's something about it where he actually does seem to hit better in the playoffs. And let me just also to wrap that answer up. Stanton is the kind of hitter that he'll go 1 for 20 and he'll swing at everything and look, and you'll be like, how is this guy a major leaguer? And then in his next 20 at bats, he'll hit 10 homers. So he does that throughout the regular season too. It just seems like he has more of the good stretches in the playoffs than the bad stretches in the playoffs. That could end up to be a coincidence over time when he gets enough sample size. But to this point, I do believe that he's in like that 10% where he actually performs better in the playoffs.
Okay.
Who's the player you were going to say that we argued about?
Yeah, you had a very different tone when I asked you. I wish you could guess.
Okay, well, give me a hint.
I wouldn't want to give it away. I feel like if I give you a hint, then it would totally give it away.
Is it a current Phillies player?
No, it's not a baseball player either.
Oh well, if it's not a baseball player, it's a different sport. So that might be why I have it different.
Oh, okay, all right.
You want it, but anyway, tell me who it is.
Jimmy Butler.
Oh yes, okay, yes. So I would gladly answer that. Yeah, different sports, so it is different. The narrative about Jimmy Butler, I think this is what I've said to you. This Jimmy Butler, like what are they? Playoff Jimmy, right?
Playoff Jimmy.
Here's the thing about Jimmy Butler. Why
Took
people
the
say
Knicks
that.
out on one ankle last year, man. Come on.
2 years ago.
Last year, no?
Last year, the Knicks lost to the Pacers.
Well,
what are you
okay.
talking about?
I guess I'm considering that this year. So, okay. 2 years ago.
That's not this year. The season starts in 2 weeks. This year.
All right, 2 years ago.
We're gonna have an NBA season preview, everyone. Don't worry. So 2 years ago, yeah. So okay, he took them out 2 years ago. So yeah, playoff Jimmy is a completely made up narrative. It's a rhetoric that's out there that if he was a really good player in the regular season, no one would say that. The problem is that he doesn't play that hard in the regular season, and he misses a lot of games. And when he actually plays hard, he's good.
Right.
That's not playoff Jimmy. That's
right.
Regular season Jimmy's a joke. I don't take it seriously. It's not.
Okay.
He's not. He doesn't all of a sudden become a superstar. He
tries harder.
He tries harder. Yeah. That's not a playoff Jimmy. That's just okay. This guy's going to try hard now.
But it is. He tries
it's not
harder.
Playoff Jimmy.
He tries harder now. When?
He tries harder after the regular season. If playoff Jimmy is simply if people acknowledge if people acknowledge that playoff Jimmy was just Jimmy Butler trying hard and in the regular season he doesn't try that hard, okay, fine. I wouldn't have a problem with that. But people think of playoff Jimmy as like he's just like the moment is like he's made for the moment and things like that, and that doesn't make any sense because he's not made for the moment. He's just someone that decides to try hard, and luckily for him, he's been on teams that have been able to get to the playoffs consistently without him. And last year, what happened? They weren't able to. You know why? Because the team around him wasn't good enough to cover up for his lackadaisical ways throughout the regular season. He's not a player that plays at a superstar level for 82 games because he's not a superstar. Okay. Playoff Jimmy. We're going to clip that up and send it straight to Jimmy Butler.
We need to get
Let's get back to the Yankees. The Yankees now move on. What was what I was saying about the Royals when recapping that series? The offense wasn't that good. Bullpen was amazing. I think it was 15 2/3 no runs. Luke Weaver, incredible. Clay Holmes, awesome. Second most innings pitched for the Yankees pitching staff in that series was Clay Holmes. He actually hasn't allowed an earned run in his postseason career.
Okay. Interesting.
The Clay Holmes hate from Yankee fans has died down, but don't
You
worry,
don't
man.
say. Wow.
It's one blunder and it will be back. So Anyway, the bullpen was great. The offense was okay. Stanton was good. And the starting pitching was pretty good. Cole was great in Game 4. And other than that, Rodon was... Did you see any of Rodon start in Game 2?
Yeah.
That was something.
It was great.
He was going wild.
It was great.
And then he lost. Everyone thinks it's just an emotional thing. I just think he lost his stuff. He lost his command. Either way, they need Rodon to be better. He's pitching Game 1 of the ALCS.
Great.
A little bit of a controversial decision.
Why?
A lot of Yankee fans
thought Heel should have started?
No, they thought Clark Schmidt.
Oh.
He was better in the regular season. He was probably better in his playoff start. And the Guardians also are like the 7th best offense against left-handed pitchers in baseball. I don't know. I think Schmidt in Game 3 is fine. Rodon is fine for Game 1. Obviously, Cole will pitch Game 2. Yankees have the Guardians. The Guardians are a really good team. I don't know why people seem to be thinking that this is another easy series for the Yankees. I'm assuming you're one of those people.
Oh God, yeah.
But let's be honest. Well, you tell me why this is an easy series for the Yankees.
I just don't think that their lineup is very good, man. I think the Yankees are better. I guess Cleveland has a better starting rotation, I guess you could say. But other than that,
no, I wouldn't say that.
Yeah,
I think the Yankees have a better starting rotation.
So then they're better at everything than Cleveland. So that's why I'm picking the Yankees. Every single thing.
Cleveland has the number 1 bullpen in baseball, and it showed in the ALDS. So obviously, Emmanuel Clase is incredible. He gave that 3-run home run to Kerry Carpenter. Kate Smith is, for Yankee fans that don't know who Kate Smith is or don't know much about Kate Smith is, I would compare him to like 2017, 2018 Chad Green. Just doesn't look overwhelming, but high spin rates, good breaking ball. Just hitters just cannot hit the fastball for whatever reason. It's explained pretty much by the spin rate, but it's really hard to hit the fastball. So he's really good. Hunter Gaddis is really good. They have a really good bullpen. They
kind of always do, right? I feel like Cleveland's always got a really good pitching
staff. I'd say, yeah, they're known for that typically, but their starting pitching is actually they're starting Alex Cobb in Game 1, who had like 3 starts all season.
Great.
He's had a very good career. He was really good 2 years ago with the Giants, but was that last year? It was last year. He's not a Game 1 starting pitcher.
Right.
And they've been relying on Matthew Boyd.
I mean, come on.
Yeah. The ghost of Yankee Stadium.
Oh my God, dude. The pinstripes?
Have you heard people call it the boogie down?
No.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh,
it's a thing God. Between around people that are around our age call the Bronx the boogie down.
Why?
I don't know. I hear them say it. I'm like, oh, okay.
You got to find out, man.
I don't give a shit.
If anyone knows, if anyone knows, give us a comment. The boogie down.
I think have you Joe's McFly?
Yes.
He calls it the boogie down.
I still would like an explanation.
Would you like that guy if he was a Philadelphia fan? He's a little nuts.
Well, the thing, yeah, he's nuts, but he wouldn't survive being a Philadelphia fan, dude. Like, that's the thing. He jumps up and down and he celebrates because his team's always good. Like, I would love to see that guy from...
It's a different standard.
Right.
You get used to it, though. You get used to the different standards.
No. That's arrogance. You're annoying, and, like, be happy that your team's really good. Like, believe me. Don't be on friggin' suicide watch because they lost a game in the ALDS. It's like, it's almost as if every series in the divisional round was tied 1-1 after Game 2. But, it's just unacceptable to lose one in New York.
But every team that was up 1-0 and lost felt bad, and every team that was down 1-0 and won felt a lot better, even though it was the same thing. It's funny how that works. How both series are tied. Its series is tied 1-1. One fan base is like down and feeling bad, and the other fan base is more optimistic, feeling great, even though it's the same situation. Pretty funny how that works.
Well, momentum, right?
Yeah, momentum.
We got that momentum, dude, going into the next game.
Yeah,
So dumb.
John Sterling always likes second John Sterling reference, I think, of this episode, but he used to say, "Well, they say momentum, but momentum's you're only as good as your next day's starting pitcher." John Sterling, oh my god. And then you had Susan Waldman on the other. Oh my god, it was so bad. So you think the Yankees are gonna? You think this is an easy series for the Yankees because they're just better?
Yes.
It's a good breakdown. The Yankees are just better.
Yes.
Okay,
Which
but let's
is
be
what
real.
I've been saying since we started the podcast, and lo
you don't
and
know
behold,
much about
here they are.
You don't know much about the Guardians, right?
No,
you would acknowledge that. Okay,
right.
Okay. So let's talk about them a little
I know
bit.
they got J-Ram and a bunch.
They
of
got
guys.
J-Ram. J-Ram's incredible.
Yes.
One of the best players in baseball. Has everything on base, power, speed. Not even that fast, but somehow steals a ton of bases. 41 steals this year, by the way.
Wow.
39 homers, 41 stolen bases,
Wow.
335 on base, 537 slug.
Damn.
6.5 WAR. WRC plus of 141. He is an elite player. Steven Kwan, big time player. Had a bad year last year, really good 2 years ago. Again, really good this year. The thing about, and Josh Naylor's a really good hitter. The thing about the Guardians is, well, they have Lane Thomas, who's really good against lefties. Also, he's the one that hit that big home run. I don't know if you saw it against Scooble.
I did. Grand Slam.
He's good against lefties. He's good against lefties. Not really good against righties at all. But the thing about the Guardians is, this is interesting. I came across this. So they hit the ball to the right side more than any team in Major League Baseball this year, and they hit the ball to the left side less than every team in Major League Baseball this year. The reason why that concerns me a little bit is because the Yankees' right side of the infield grades out. Well, the Yankees' right side offensively, Soto, Glaber, and, well, currently Oswaldo or Birdie at first base, assuming Rizzo's not on the roster, grades out as the worst defensive right side in baseball. So that's a little troublesome.
That's a fair point.
The other thing about the Guardians is, well, I already talked about their bullpen, is they're just in general a great defensive team. They have Rocchio as a rookie at shortstop, great shortstop. Andres Jimenez, second baseman, great second baseman. Jose Ramirez might be their worst defensive player, and he's around league average as a third baseman. Steven Kwan's a great outfielder. They have just a really good defensive team. And, Bo Naylor as a catcher, really good defensive catcher. So they just have a really good defensive team. And I think for people that aren't familiar with the Guardians and you're a Yankee fan, you're watching the series, be prepared to be frustrated at times by hits that you think should be hits, doubles you think should be doubles, singles that you think should be doubles only becoming singles, doubles turning into outs because the Guardians can play defense. So that's something to look out for. But to your point, the Yankees are the better team. The Yankees should win this series. I expect the Yankees to win this series. I just wanted to point out the things the Guardians do well, the things that the Yankees should be concerned about, need to focus on. But if you can shut down J-Ram, this offense isn't that good. It's not. Most Yankee fans feel like they need to win this series. Like, you need to get to the World Series.
As well they should, yeah.
They're the better team. I mean, you don't blame Yankee fans for being upset if they lose the series, right?
I think it's okay to be upset when your team loses the series. However, we don't have to get into it. Yes, it's fine if you're upset that your team gets eliminated in the playoffs. Yes. Doesn't mean you have to fire everybody. It doesn't mean that that the Cashman's horrible and that Aaron Boone is the worst thing. It's like on the face of the earth.
We agree.
Okay, good.
If they lose this series, no one's getting fired. Maybe if they got swept, the Yankees would just choose Boone as a scapegoat. So,
okay.
Which, I mean, who really cares? I mean, I don't know. I don't think Boone really matters that much.
He's really
positively or
holding
negatively.
Back. Yeah.
Yeah. Every move he made in this past series worked out. So
not true. You're lying. They won in spite of him, not because of him.
Well,
he's just a puppet. He's just a puppet for the front office, man. He doesn't make decisions.
Oh my god!
I mean, they held the Martian in AAA for way too long.
It's funny
it's
that
ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
It's funny that
fire him.
This is
fire Cashman.
All right. Anything else? Anything else? What else do Yankee fans say?
They say that Cashman is the worst general manager in sports. I mean, he should have been fired years ago.
Lifetime contract they complain about.
Yeah, lifetime contract. You know,
What do you?
Steinbrenner's rolling in his grave because he can't. Just imagine you're Steinbrenner and you've built this great organization and you have to sit back and look at them in the ALCS year after year. I mean, this poor guy, he can't even rest in peace because he's so angry that Aaron Boone decided to play birdie at first base. I mean, it's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
It's a disaster.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Eagles. The Giants game just started. We're recording this. We won't know the outcome. We're going to do another episode later in the week to recap the Giants game and the Jets game, which is tomorrow. We'll also at that point maybe get you caught up on give a little maybe have a little discussion about what's going on in the NLCS and ALCS at that point.
Please, Cincinnati, I'm begging you.
Yeah, you need the Bengals.
I need you to pull this out, man.
So you don't want to talk about the Eagles even though they won?
We could talk about
We don't have to if you don't want to.
No, I suppose we should. They suck. I mean, they just suck, man.
So you aren't relieved that they won at least?
I am slightly relieved, also just still perplexed. I mean, I'm watching what feels like a bottom 5 team just beat another bottom 5 team barely. AJ Brown, still a monster. Special teams, the worst special teams
disaster
I've ever seen in my life. Dude,
it's a disaster.
They've had in the past 3 weeks, like shit that you never see. Like you could go 5 years watching your favorite football team and you would not see these three things happen, and they happened in a span of 3 weeks. They had a blocked punt, they had a muffed punt, and they had a blocked field goal that got returned.
Yeah, just be careful who you're saying that to.
Did you see? Well, hold on. Did you see the sequence that led to the blocked field goal?
I didn't see the sequence. Actually,
so right before that, it's just like the kind of shit that's just like season from hell. Like how else do things?
They won the game. They won the game.
They won the game.
They're 3-2 season from hell.
Yes.
Yeah, mocking Yankee fans. 3-2, acting like you're the worst team ever.
So here's the thing. So that drive, so that they're up 10-3. They have the ball. They put together a nice drive. They're going into halftime, and they want to at least kick a field goal, and they would be up 13-3. Cleveland gets the ball back at halftime, so you're still even if they come down and score a touchdown, you're still up 3. So there's a 2nd and 1. Hurts dumps the ball off to Barkley. He catches it, and he gets out of bounds like before the stick. And it's like I remember I was watching my brother and I'm like, oh, of course he ran past the sticks. Like he would never run out of bounds before getting past the sticks. So it's not a first down. It's no gain. They had all 3 timeouts. So it's now 3rd and 1 instead of 1st and 10. Next play, Hurts gets sacked for like 15 yards. Next play is the blocked field goal for a touchdown. So it's like if he would have just caught the ball and ran for the first down, even if he didn't even have to get out of bounds, like even if he would have just went, if you see the play, he had a lot of room to work, but he decided to go out. But just a disaster. And then, did you see how the game ended?
Oh, they had the AJ Brown deep ball.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
Is this guy? What's wrong with it? Is this?
They should have ran the ball.
Not that they should have ran the ball, because this kind of goes back to the Falcons game where Barkley dropped the ball. I am okay with throwing the ball when you're in a drain clock situation.
But the deep ball is the issue.
He takes a shot on a 50-50 ball on 2nd and 11.
Is that a 50-50 ball just because you're saying it's one-on-one coverage type coverage, or is that a 50-50 ball?
No,
with AJ Brown, it's more than a 50-50 ball.
It seems like their plan. It's so frustrating because like you watch other offenses, and I kind of feel in the limited times that I've watched the Jets this year, like this is kind of how I feel with them. Like it seems like their offense is, hey, AJ Brown, you're really good. We're gonna throw you the ball. Like you should come down with it. There's no one's ever running open on the Eagles. Like once in a while, I know you're going to say, "Oh, that Devontae Smith touchdown." Yes, once in a while they'll get a pick or something and have somebody. That's it though. That's like the only time guys are running open on offense. Like you watch other teams, you watch the 49ers and guys are just wide open like all the time. It's like, why don't you do
I know
that?
you're talking
I
about.
don't understand. Like you have all these weapons, you have a good offensive line. Like I don't get it. Even you watch the Giants, like these guys are open like all the time. Everyone's open, but for some reason the Eagles just can't. They can't scheme their receivers open, and it's so
You kind of got
frustrating.
off here, though. You kind of got sidetracked. So your issue was them going deep. But how do you know it's why? Is that a coaching decision or is that a Jalen Hurts decision?
I
You're
don't
saying
know.
there should be no one running that deep. They shouldn't have AJ Brown running that route.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you're gonna throw it, like again, I'm okay with throwing it. Just make it a safe throw, man. That was not a safe throw, and if he
I'll give you
drops
credit
that,
with something.
that was an insane catch, dude. Did you see that catch?
Oh, I saw it. It was a great
It
catch.
was
But
insane.
it was an AJ Brown catch. It wasn't like that surprising. Can I give you credit on something? I really want to give you
Sure.
credit here.
Please do.
This is not sarcastic at all.
This is big. Okay, go ahead.
It worked out, yet you are criticizing the process because if it didn't work out, you'd be criticizing the process. So you're being consistent. I appreciate that. Great job.
Thank you. Well, if
You're
it's
welcome.
anybody in the world whose name is not AJ Brown, like it's gonna be the Falcons game all over again.
Yeah,
Like,
he threw the ball knowing it is AJ Brown, so that's not really a fair criticism.
I know, but still, you can't ask
It's
this
a big
guy.
difference.
You can't ask this guy to just be Superman on
Well, he
every
was actually
play. Like,
he was actually
here's an
dude,
idea.
he beat
Why
him
don't
by
you
a
get
lot.
AJ Brown?
He was wide open. It was actually underthrown. It was more of a bad underthrow than it was a bad decision because AJ Brown was wide. I mean, he had him beat.
That's another major issue with the Philadelphia Eagles. The quarterback is really bad right now. So
Yeah, it's an issue
I
for
don't
most
know
teams
if-
in the NFL, though.
I don't know if it's something he could fix at this point. At least he didn't have a turnover this game. They still refuse to get turnovers on defense. They haven't won the turnover battle in like a year.
They refuse it.
They refuse it. They don't know that you're allowed to do that to the other team. Like
Oh,
they have
Okay.
no idea. Yeah, they
they
just
didn't
don't.
realize, no.
They don't know that you can fumble or intercept the ball. Like they're not allowed.
Giants are down 7-0, by the way.
Thank you. That's great news. Oh, I needed
And I know
this.
all of you watching or listening to this, you'll obviously already know the outcome. So
Yes.
we're finding out live. And the Dodgers are up 2-0 in the second inning.
Oh God. Last week was so bad. I really, sports wise, I could really
I'm
use.
glad you clarified that. I was going to ask you how your family was doing.
I could use a good Sunday where Dallas got destroyed. Washington lost finally. I would love the Eagles eked out a win. Cool. Man, yeah, if the Giants lost, that would be great.
So the Eagles they're 3-2. They have the Giants at
Oh God. Oh.
at JetLife Stadium.
Yeah. Yep.
1:00 game. Man, that's an opportunity for a primetime game. Big blue or small green.
No, the Jets are small green, dude. That is so good. Small green.
Yeah, the Jets are definitely small green. Nice. Eagles will be 4-2.
Stop. You know that, like.
I don't think that's an easy win for the Eagles at all. Seriously,
No way,
I think
of course not.
that's kind of a toss-up game. I think it's kind of a toss-up game.
They don't have an easy win. They haven't had an easy win since like last September, dude. Not even like exaggerating. Like all of their games are these weird, like something goes wrong, grind it out. They have to make it hard on themselves. And I'm still like, part of me is still like a sicko. And like, hey, if they didn't block the field goal, it's a 23-9 game. Like,
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, but
That's true.
something always happens though. Every week.
It doesn't mean
like
something
that.
will continue to always happen.
Well, until
okay.
proven otherwise, right?
So they go to the Giants, who will maybe either be coming off a win against the Bengals or a loss against the Bengals. So we'll see. But 3-2,
Yes, sir.
as down as you are on them, They're 3-2.
Right.
So that's a good thing. Can we just be optimistic for a second and say this? Throughout a season, if the Eagles are going to end up being good, let's just say that, right? The Eagles end up being good. They have some good stretches. They have some bad stretches. Let's just say they played their worst of their first 5 games. And you look back and say, well, it's really good that they were 3-2 in that bad stretch. Optimistic. You don't agree with this. You think they're just a bad team.
I do think they're a bad team. I think
maybe you're right.
Now, I think
maybe you're right.
Yeah, I think we're certainly far enough in now to where we can say that.
We could say what they've been so far.
Okay, that's fair.
To this point, I agree with you. They're not very good. I wouldn't say
they're bad. We're not going
not a bad team.
Yeah, okay, but there's also no evidence to suggest that like they're gonna put it together. Like, is it within the realm of possibility? Sure, but like right now we have these 5 games to react to. We can't really project anything forward, and we've seen what we've seen.
I'm with you on that. Through the first 5 games, they haven't given you a reason to really believe in this team.
Exactly.
I'm with you on that. Okay, so let's go on to Let's Mock New York Fans on Twitter. You said you have one tweet for us this week?
I have one tweet for you this week. So this is the same guy from last week. His name is Dom. His tag is @BronxBombers. If you recall, last week his profile picture was Juan Soto. It was like the back of Juan Soto's jersey, number 22. Guy loves the pinstripes, right? So famously, the Yankees somehow lost a game to the Royals in the ALDS last week. So this guy, Dom, changed his profile picture from Juan Soto to just all black. There's nothing there. It's just a black hole of darkness. Look, there's nothing there. You can't even see it.
Oh.
just darkness. So
darkness.
With that, just darkness. Just so. And this is a tweet. I don't know when he changed his profile. Obviously, it was during the Royals game or maybe right after, but this was after the, I guess after they lost the Royals game too. So Dom writes, most wide open the league has been in the Judge era, and this team can't beat the fucking Royals. I've officially accepted that this core will never win the World Series and will suffer a Cubs-like curse. No reason to ever smile as a Yankees fan.
Ooh. Wow.
That took a dark turn, man. No reason ever. I mean, they only beat the Royals in 4 games. I mean, I just... God, they suck. So, I can't even say it without laughing, dude. Oh, it's so pathetic, dude. It's so pathetic, man. Shut up. Do you watch? This is what makes me so mad. You don't watch baseball. You don't know.
No, he does watch baseball.
No, he doesn't.
He watches.
No, he doesn't.
He only watches the Yankees. Yes, he watches baseball. Who only watches the Yankees?
No, because I'm sure he was crying the blues in July when they lost 6 out of 8 games.
Yeah, I'm sure he was. Right. I'm sure he was. But that doesn't mean he doesn't watch baseball. He doesn't understand critical thinking and patience.
No. He's an idiot. He thinks that
Well, I'm not. Okay, I'm just saying that he watches baseball. I'm not defending his intelligence.
He doesn't.
Okay, so if he doesn't watch baseball, he's not. It's not a lack of intelligence.
Obviously, he watches baseball, but he just right. What you're saying,
he doesn't understand what he's watching.
Understand that teams are allowed to lose 1 game in a 5-game series. It happens. It's okay. You don't have to go dark. Right. And you didn't. And you should be happy now because your team's in the ALCS. So I'll have to.
He didn't know that.
I'll have to check back up on him. But it was still a very real possibility at the time. It was still a likelihood that it was going to happen.
Of course.
Right.
All right, that was a good one.
I mean, even I wouldn't do that, dude. I mean, come on. No reason to ever smile. That's it. What about if your team... Hold on. What about if your team hit... What if your team hit a walk-off grand slam to to win a playoff game, like to clinch the series. Can you smile then or no? There's no reason to smile.
For a moment. Let me ask you this, though. Are you so sure that his negativity is not what turned the tides for the Yankees?
Oh,
If he was positive, it would have been the opposite. They would have lost. But his negativity inspired it inspired
right.
the roster. They
That's
don't know
right.
that it inspired them, but it inspired them.
Told them, yes.
Yeah. Have you considered that? I don't think you did.
It really galvanized the team, and all of a sudden, and since then, you're right, they haven't lost a game.
I don't think that's a coincidence.
The system worked, yeah.
All right, let's move on to some subscriber questions. So I had two. One of them we already talked about, though. So I'm going to leave this to MDIG2. This core, I guess this is regarding the Phillies. This core has reached its ceiling. Should the Phillies break up the roster? So we saved this because we started to talk about it earlier, so we saved it for this. So do you want to go first or should I go first?
I'll go first. I think it's fair to say that they have reached their ceiling. They have gotten worse each year since they made their run to the World Series a couple of years ago.
Well, you're just going by postseason result, right? They haven't gone in terms of regular season. I would say they've gotten better.
Yes, I'm going by postseason result. It seems like they've got some contracts that are not looking very good right now. All I would say, they really need to revamp the lineup somehow. Again, I think that the Trey Turner contract looks like a disaster right now. I was a pretty big fan of Trey Turner. He has not been very good, especially in the playoffs here. But I don't really know where they go. Their payroll is so high that I guess JT's coming off the books after next year.
After next year, yeah, UFA.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that they should probably make some major moves, but I just don't know what moves are to be made.
Setting the contract stuff aside, you think that you would like them to break up the core a little bit.
Yeah, definitely.
And then the question is how realistic is that given the contracts, which is a good question for sure.
Yes, right.
I don't want to debate Trey Turner's contract value that much because I don't think that's really answers. We're talking about the actual answer to the question, but based on regular season performance, it's not a bad contract. Now, if you want to say he hasn't performed in the playoffs, okay, that's different. Going forward, I do think we're going to see a decline in his performance. We're talking about a shortstop who's getting older and has declining defensive metrics. So, but I don't think it's a bad enough contract that if you wanted to trade it, you could. Does he have a no trade? I don't think he has a no trade.
I don't think he does.
Oh, he does. He does.
He does. Oh, great.
No trade clause. Yep. Through 2034. Yeah. Bryce has a no trade clause too, though. You're right. But you don't want to trade Bryce.
No.
Yeah. Of course not. Incredible. His postseason performance significantly better than his regular season performance this year.
He's in the 10%?
I think he's just incredible. I don't know. I think he's in his own percentage. No, I think he's among the performance to your regular season, relative to your regular season stats throughout your entire career, postseason career. So he's just an incredible player. So the core, you're not doing anything with Nola or Wheeler.
I'm not really doing anything with the pitching staff in general.
Let's sum up the core real quickly.
Well, the rotation.
Core roster. Well, let's just sum up the core roster though. Wheeler and Nola are from the rotation. Bryce, Trey, Schwarber, JT Realmuto. Is that the core roster?
You throw Castellanos in there. Ranger and Sanchez. Why not?
I don't know if I don't know if I'd consider them the core. But anyway, I guess it's all subjective. So
right.
I think let's see. So I'm looking up. Where's Castellanos in here? Castellanos is due $20 million next year, $20 million in 26, and then he's a free agent. So 2 years left, 2 years, $40 million left. I think a couple things about this situation here. Here's the thing about Casty. He's the reason why it's a problem for the Phillies. One, he's not a great hitter. He's just not a great hitter, and his metrics have been bad for years. He's outperformed them here and there, and his metrics are getting worse and worse. He's 32 years old. He's a horrible outfielder. He's a DH is what he is. But he can't DH on this team because they have Kyle Schwarber, who's an amazing DH. Both of them are horrible outfielders. Only one of them can DH. Casty as a DH would be really pathetic because he's not a good enough hitter to be a full-time DH. And they have Schwarber. So when you have Casty in right field, you have a really bad defensive outfielder. So what do you need to do? Well, you need to have a really good defensive center fielder. So, and given how much money they're spending on the core roster and the amount of strong or high quality two-way center fielders out there in the market, you don't really have an option other than going with a great defensive center fielder like they have, like a Rojas. If you could remove Cassidy from this team and have a league average right fielder, it gives you more options what you can do in center field, what you can do in left field. I think Cassidy could be moved. You might have to trade a prospect along with him. Maybe you'll have to eat a portion of the contract. Maybe you have to eat out of the 2 years for $40 million. Maybe you have to eat 15 of it. I think it's not that he's a very valuable asset, but I think he could be moved if the Phillies are either willing to give up a prospect or eat a good portion of the contract. I don't know if they're going to be willing to do that. Yeah. But I think that would be the player to move that opens up your options. It gives you options for a right fielder. It gives you more options, more diversity of options in center field and left field. I'd put that in there as well. I think the pitching's, like you said, like the pitching's pretty set. I mean, I think the year Christopher Sanchez had, the year Rangers had now 2 seasons in a row, I think the pitching's pretty set. You should be pretty comfortable with the pitching, the starting pitching staff. The bullpen could use some work. In terms of the actual everyday player, I mean, what do you think about Alec Bohm? Would you consider moving on from him?
I don't know. He had a pretty up and down year. He's always been pretty solid. His defense has gotten a lot better over the past year and a half. But that's another one that people are kind of wanting. People are kind of wanting to move on from him because he was really bad the past couple weeks of the season and he had a really bad playoffs. But I think overall he's a pretty solid player to have.
He's also very he's on a friendly contract. He's pre-arbitration right now. So this offseason he's going to be arbitration eligible. Mm-hmm. So the projection will probably be around, this year he made $4 million, so probably around $8 million. Mm-hmm. And then arbitration eligible in 26, and then free agent going to the 27 season. So 2 things with that. You can hold on to them because they have a really, like you said, a very expensive roster. So you need to have impact players on good contracts. Or you, because of that contract with 2 years of control, you can move them for a reliever, you can move them for a starter, maybe then go sign like a third baseman free agent. I don't know, Alex Bregman.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, I'd be pretty open to both of those plans. Getting rid of Castellanos or Bohm. I mean, you're not going to have the rest of the core forever. They're all in their 30s, so the clock is ticking.
The thing about it is Dombrowski is a very aggressive general manager. So if there's an opportunity for something, if there's a way, he'll make his calls. He will find something. If there's an opportunity out there to improve the roster, he's going to do it. He's a very aggressive GM, and he doesn't wait around. He's not like, let's just run the roster back. He's not. That's not who he is. I know he did that this year, but that's not who he is.
Yeah, and that's great. You know what's interesting about that though is he has not. His trade deadline acquisitions over the past couple of years have been very disappointing. So I would like to see him.
The new rules.
Yeah, I know, but still, I mean, I would like to see him get a little more aggressive during the season. But yeah, I mean, I'm all for it, man. I love taking big swings and seeing what happens because that they're not. They need to do something. They need to shake things up.
I would like to consider doing when things calm down with all the baseball playoffs and the NFL, a off-season preview for the Phillies for eventually when the Yankees and Mets lose. Also, you hear what I said when they lose?
November. Oh, when they lose. Oh, come on.
They lose, yeah.
Yeah, right. You're just Dodger mania, dude. You just can't help yourself.
Well, I said the Yankees too.
What?
I said when the Yankees and Mets lose. So
I know.
I have Cleveland mania.
No, I thought you meant Dodgers to
Oh, because the
take them both
Dodgers are
out.
going to beat both teams. Oh,
Yeah.
it's possible.
It is possible. They would love that, huh? MLB, LA, New York,
Oh, yeah,
two times in a row.
I think they would love Yankees Dodgers or Yankees Mets.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait, 2 times in a row.
Yeah. Dodgers, Mets, and Dodgers, Yankees. I'm
Oh,
saying
oh, I
LA,
think
New
you meant
York.
like last year. I was like, wait, what? Okay, I got you. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. So that's the episode. Give us
Great.
a like, subscribe, comment below. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Go Bengals.
Philly pride insists that's all. Andrew Rappin and Wild Bulls. Together they talk sports and dreams. Right behind the scenes. It seems. Philly versus NY. Hear the call. Who's the greatest? Who will fall with this rivalry? Loud and clear. Join the chat. It's time to cheer. Sports and culture all in one. Catch the fire, feel the fun. Andrew, sis, that Brad unite. Philly and Y in the spot.